My husband and I moved to Star in spring of 2008 to move our business from New Orleans, which was damaged in 2005 in Hurricane Katrina. And we needed a new place to live on higher ground that was affordable. And we also wanted to live someplace rural for a change. So we found Star. Or Star, I think Star kind of found us too and lured us in.
I think one of the fun parts for me is probably working with my employees as a team to come up with new ideas and develop the product that we want to represent us the best, and everyone working together to create that to the best of our abilities.
We lived in New Orleans for a good long time. I'm from there. I had never imagined that I wasn't in my plans. And then, the city flooded and we didn't really have a choice. We had 15 people employed with us when the storm hit, and for us that was a lot of people. It was hard to, it's like, where'd they go? Who, what can we do for them? Because these were our friends. We left that behind. We left behind a lot of family. I don't know, I'm probably related to half the people in New Orleans. And coming to some place so far away and so different from New Orleans also meant that we probably wouldn't have people coming to see us on a regular basis. So, just knowing that was a kind of a tough hurdle to just kind of, oh, it's okay. It's okay. Just keep yourself busy with work.
This is our latest furnace model that melts 135 pounds of glass. These are high temperature ceramic components that go up to 3,000 degrees Fahrenheit. So we model this thing completely from start to finish, and then we take each virtual part and send it out to one of our computers or to our shop to be made by hand. We make all of the ceramic parts that we use in the furnace, the high temperature parts. So we have to make the molds into which we cast the high temperature ceramics.
Essentially just built parts around it with the mold. I began to create, essentially wrapping metal around these cast forms.
Well, Starworks Center is kind of a laboratory for us to put our mission into practice. And the mission of Central Park NC is to grow a new regional economy based on the sustainable use of the natural and cultural resources of the region. So Starworks is kind of like a little laboratory for us to sort of try out different things to make that mission happen.
Essentially, our business is a tenant of Starworks, but we're more than that. It is more like a family. And really, when we came here, we don't have another family. So we moved here with knowing no one. The Starworks became our family. The people of Starworks. It's sort of a landing pad for people to really come to Star from somewhere else, I think, and eventually kind of integrate into the rest of the community by other ways.
Small towns, like it or not, small rural communities can be very insular kinds of communities that maybe don't take as easily to newcomers and people from different ethnic backgrounds and religious backgrounds and so forth. So I think that having a place like Starworks to sort of provide kind of a more nurturing kind of environment, kind of a little safe environment for them to get to work, literally.
What we really focused on here is to reduce the amount of hardware that went in it, so we cut out all of our parts of metal so that they interlock together.
We want to be able to cut all the parts out with a CNC plasma cutter and not have to rely on cutlery.
So our turnaround time on this might be 20 minutes instead of having to wait for 2 or 3 weeks to receive the parts from an outside source. And you can see the way that it saves material with our nesting software. We can nest all these components within each other. As you can see, here's one part nested inside of this other part that's really kind of more of a C shape.
A lot of our employees come from other states. We hire a lot of artists to work for us. You know, people come out of university programs and maybe their professor will recommend them to us, and you know, we like those folks.
Our company and our employees work together with the staff of Starworks to come up with programs, to come up with new events and new ideas of ways to try to, one, have a more fun here ourselves, and also, and by doing that, show other people that it's a fun place to move to.
This thing really can't go together wrong. There's only one way to put it together, and it's the right way.
This building alone employed over 1,000 people in a community with a population of 800. And you know, when this and the other manufacturing businesses sort of disappeared, I think it's a tremendous cultural shock, I think, for a lot of folks. When manufacturing really came to the South, you know, after World War II, you know, you got out of high school or whatever, and there was always a job for you. And then came globalization and pretty massive economic restructuring, and things have changed. What we're looking at now are large corporations kind of moving around the globe, looking at the bottom line, you know, where they're going to be able to be competitive and where they're going to be able to make the most money, and not so much what the needs of the community are.
Around that will be a ceramic insulating fiber that holds the heat in the interior. So this is a very efficient furnace. This is going to have electric elements that go down on the inside of it, and it's going to have 8 more inches of ceramic fiber insulation on the top. So
They're settling in. It's not always easy. This is a community where you could live here for 28 years and still be considered the newcomer. We purposefully sort of try to create a kind of a creative environment here. Sometimes I think my job is to sort of stay out of the way and let people just sort of do their own things. I try to make sure that the lights stay on, you know, and you know, that kind of thing. But a lot of my job is to stay out of the way of creativity and let it kind of happen.
I do think that there will be more artists moving here, and I think that hope we'll do everything we can to make it a more interesting place to live. So it's all these things that we do that we think are fun. We do those things because we think that will attract more fun, exciting people to move here, because most places that have those are cities, and it's hard to get people to move from the city to the country. Most young people move from this area, go to college, and don't come back because there's no jobs. So what we're trying to do is create interesting things, not just jobs, but interesting jobs that will bring people here to start.
We've made great friends with our neighbors.
People who live within 1 or 2 blocks mostly that are really wonderful people and almost treat us as if we were their children. So it's just a lot of good people, a lot of good stories, a lot of characters.